Hello, this is a recording for chapter 107, Formulating Suggestions. And my name is Monica Gearsdahl. I'm the author of a three-part series in hypnosis training. This is part of the first series, Hypnosis 100. So when you hear me say chapters, 107 means it's chapter 7 of the 100 course in basic hypnosis direct suggestions. This chapter is about formulating suggestions. Let me share my screen and pull up that chapter with you. Right there. I'm screen sharing. Formulating suggestions. How do we say things to get people to do things? Well, one of the best things to do is to tell them what you want. For example, if a child is running through a room and you say, "Don't slam the door," child's going to hear "don't" and then stop to listen. The next part of the suggestion is slam the door, and boom, the door gets slammed. Close the door quietly is a direct way of telling a child, "I want the door closed quietly." When we tell people things, "Hey, don't think of horses. Don't think of horses. Don't think of pink or purple polka dot horses." Now, a suggestible person might have just gotten a flash to that four-legged creature with a tail and a mane that we call a horse. And I might have even been able to paint color suggestions on there just because that person's very imaginative. What we have to do when giving suggestions is be clear about what we want. Say what it is that we want instead of what we don't want. We want to move toward a solution instead of toward a problem. When I'm moving toward a solution, my mind goes toward a solution and then I plateau, and then I find another solution and a plateau. So the oscillation of moving toward an idea is like stairs: rise, tread, rise, tread, rise, tread, rise, tread. When I'm thinking about a problem, I think about the problem, I'm getting away from it, I get away from it, but I'm still thinking about the problem and I fall back into it. So an away from pattern of thinking is an oscillation that goes up and down. I get away from a problem, I fall back into it. If I use a metaphor of a positive and negative, I'm getting away from my problem. Yay, I'm gone from my problem. My conscious mind goes, woohoo, it's done, it's gone, I don't have it anymore. And my subconscious mind, who's up here, is going like, "Oh, I'm so bored. I got to do something. She's thinking about the problem. Let me make more of the problem." And so I fall back into the problem. When I'm listening to someone talking to me, I like to listen to, are they problem-oriented or solution-oriented? We need to get the mind into a solution orientation to achieve our goals, because I'm drawing a blank on the poet, Thoreau, I think it's Thoreau. We tend to hit that at which we aim. So this basic hypnosis course is about teaching you how to use your mind like a mental bow and arrow, to target your mind and to achieve that which you desire instead of all that other stuff out there that you're not interested in hitting. When a congruent message, for example, when I say yes, my head will go like this. And when I say no, my head will go like this. That's called a congruent message. It means what I'm saying and what I'm experiencing inside are the same. I'm aligned. My inner world and my outer world are aligned. A lot of times with hypnosis, we're helping a person align their inner and outer world. We want to paint a picture in the mind of what a person wants. And how do we do that? We ask, what do you want? Earlier, and we'll get back to it again, I showed a picture of a circle. So when you come to my class, I ask you to write in the middle, what are you here for? Bullseye. And then when you're done with that, you write around the edge of the circle all the things that might prevent you from achieving your goals. At the end of the class, we look to see, have you achieved your goal, and how many of the things that were at the edges distracted you? In the idea of foveal attention, center of attention, and peripheral attention, we're going to be working with both. How do I focus my mind upon this? How do I notice how it's embedded? How do I notice things coming up from the background, becoming the center of attention? And then when they're concluded, when they're satiated, when they're done, when the drive is gone, they can fall back again and something else can come forward. Now, how do we develop effective suggestions? These ideas come from Gil Boyne, also known as his full name, Mark Gil Boyne, from the Hypnosis Training Institute. I studied with him in 1987. Say things positively. Say what you want instead of what you don't want. I just showed I'm moving toward a goal. Rise, tread, rise, tread. I'm moving toward a problem. Up, down, up, down, up, down. When a person's using positive statements, they'll tend to be more success-oriented and successful in achieving goals. Awareness is crucial. One of my favorite stories from a hypnotist years ago with a fellow student. The young man wanted to study better, and he wrote every day in every way, and Emil Coué lead into a direct suggestion. I am studying more and more and more. And that's what he thought he wrote. He had a date every night between classes, hypnosis classes. They didn't call them hypnosis, they called them something else. And the professor asked, can I see your suggestion? Well, when he wrote it, he did not write studying. He wrote studying, S-U-D-I-N-G. And he had a date every night. Be really clear about what you're focusing on. And when I say there are Freudian slips, I'm not saying that he wore dresses and put a slip beneath it. No, we say things that show what's going on beneath the surface. We'll be talking about the conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious during this course. So use a positive statement. Be aware of what you're doing. Example, I am in control of my appetite. It's one of the examples I have in the chapter. It indicates that my appetite is out of control and I'm striving to own and control it. Yeah. Who likes to be micromanaged? If I put an idea on there that's growth oriented and allows me to explore and play and be curious, a really important part of learning is curiosity. I eat as much as I need to sustain my body perfectly. Would be a more appropriate way to structure a suggestion. We'll be using your suggestions and we'll be making them juicy. So you want them. We want to build expectation so that you want what it is that you say you want, and we can align your innermost mind with your outermost mind and your behavior. Gilboyne says use present tense instead of I will. Oh, I'll start that tomorrow. Next week, I will. I'm gonna. I ought to. None of these have to do with being right here, right now. From a Gestalt perspective, and Mark Gilboyne was a student of Fritz Perls, you want to be, I want to be right here, right now. Did you hear me say you want to be and then I want to be? Notice when you language and I language comes up. When I'm talking to you and I'm talking about you, I will use the you language. If I'm talking about myself and I switch to a you language, I'm projecting onto you the things that I'm not liking about myself or that I don't feel I have power over. When a person is talking about themselves, now I just went third person, a person is talking about themselves. When I am talking about myself and I use I language as an empowerment. So in suggestions, instead of I will do this, it's I am. Well, now the conscious and the unconscious mind know when you aren't there yet, and you say I am, and the mind's going to go, I'm not yet. So I need to use some ongoing suggestions like every day in every way. I am becoming more and more, or I am achieving this or something better, I ask. And when you put an ending on this or something better, it allows your unconscious mind to go like, there's something that I want here and I want to be a part of this. So we want to use positive statements, be clear about what we're asking for, and use present tense, I am, instead of I will. Be specific. I am losing 20 pounds. That's a specific thing. It's specific about how I want, except that at some level, I hate losing things. When I lose my glasses and I can't find them because I have stashed them someplace, and where are my glasses? I don't remember where they are. I go crazy until I find my glasses again because I need them for driving. If I need them for reading, I have other glasses for that. And it really bothers me when I open my glasses case and it's not there. Of course, today I'm prepared because I might have to read things, and in the evening, my eyes can change. So I would want to find different ways to say I'm losing 20 pounds, such as each and every day. I am closer and closer to my ideal goal of, and let's say I'm at 160 pounds and I want to be 140 pounds. I would say every day in every way, I am closer and closer to my goal of 140 pounds, or size 9, or size 16, or whatever it is that I'm striving for, because that's what I want for myself. So again, be specific. I am now doing this. I am the one doing it. Gilboyne, in summary, Gilboyne's suggestions: use positive statements. Be aware of what you're saying. Use the present tense, I am, and an ongoing thing. not just I am something I'm not already, where my unconscious mind can go, yeah, but you're not. Be specific and use I am. Every day in every way, more and more relaxed. That's incorrect because I failed to add the I am. It's interesting. I get text messages. People say, love you. They don't say, I love you. The I part is where we make our connection. Otherwise, it's out there in third party world, or, I'm talking to you when I'm really free. When a person starts talking I in you language and they shift, this is a point at which they're letting you know, I'm feeling disempowered here. Make a note of that, because that's an area in which they're fumbling, and you can help them structure ideas. More likely, you'll have to do some conscious work, maybe some hypnosis 200, hypnotherapy. Now, how do we edit an affirmation? We go through it and we polish it and we get it juicy and we make the ongoing words. And then we have someone read it to us, or we read it to ourselves, and we trust the feeling stuff. In here, we'll be doing an inner glide detector test at some point in this class about, does it feel right by me? You probably know foods from your past that they don't sit well with you. And you probably know foods from your past that, you smell them and you can't wait to get them in your mouth because you always feel good and the body is regular. And ideas are the same way. Some of them are tastier than others. Now, let's just say we've taken the time and we built a 3-page affirmation of what we want. Do we need to do that? No, we don't need to do that for this class. We can pick out one sentence, or we can pick up and make it bigger. If I want to do a 20-minute self-hypnosis recording for myself, I might want to have 3, 4, 5 pages prepared so that I can read through those scripts of what it is that I want for myself. And I want them to be as juicy as possible. Now, is it quick to do it? Recently, I did an 18-minute recording with a client, and we started out with my looking through our notes over the course of a year. I plucked out areas that had intense emotion on them. And when we met to do direct suggestions, she already had a week to think about the direct suggestions she wanted. We spent an hour and 15 minutes polishing them. And then there was the 18, 19 minutes of recording them and shipping them. I send through WhatsApp because it has a big enough space to handle a recording. I also use Gmail because that also is large enough to receive and send a recorded, longer hypnosis experience. So let's say we've got our ideas, we've polished them, we've edited them, and now we want to use, I don't want to read all 3 of those things, all 7 of those pages. I want to do one word and think of all that stuff. So we find a word that means today, this word symbolizes all the rest of that stuff. And that's called a keyword or a hypnotic trigger, an auditory trigger. So instead of reading your affirmations 50 times a day or listening to that 20-minute recording for yourself, you can take a simple thing, a little Post-it, 3x5 cards for those of us old people who still have recipe boxes, and put them in different places. On the mirror in the bathroom, on the mirror in the bedroom. I have several meditations that are on the left side of my dash in the car. So when I'm looking to the left to check the mirror, my eyes are scanning across it. And once you have your suggestions, you have someone read them to you. You notice, does it feel good? And then give a word or phrase that summarizes that whole thing. And that's all you have to think about, is that one word that you've put on your Post-it and stuck it in different places or have in your wallet. How do we use it? We can use it automatically, as I've just described, or when I was working in an office that was really stressful, I would go to the bathroom, put the lid down on the toilet because I was there to relax. And I would pull out my 3x5 card that would have my suggestion on it. And I would sit there breathing until my hands got so loose that my card dropped. So just by using a card with a word on it, it's a fixation device. It brought my mind with the focus back upon that which I desired, and away from all that other stuff, that chaos out there, because that chaos is going to keep on going. This is where the calm comes from. Post-hypnotic suggestions. That is one that goes into future tense. I give myself a suggestion that every time I have a sweet tooth, I go get a big glass of water. And if the sweet tooth is still there, get another glass of water. Water is sweet. And so I start linking ideas that this thing that I'm giving myself a suggestion for now is going to have an effect on me over time, and I'm going to follow it. Now, it could be that a suggestion is stimulated by a signal given by someone else or a subconscious response. Hollywood plays with this. The person picks up the phone. Someone whistles a tune. The person goes into trance and goes in and hang up the phone. And they go rob the bank, get all the money, and give it to the person on the other end of the phone. It's great for a Hollywood plot. We can't get people to do anything they don't want to do. But here's the big but. We can get triggered to want to do things because we're reminded, either consciously or most likely at an unconscious level, because of things that remind us of other things. I'll give you an example. If you have ever seen a stage hypnosis show, the hypnotist might say something like, when I tug my ear, when I tweak my nose, when I pull my tie, when I snap my fingers, you will do this. And then throughout the show, they will do the signals to see who's responding. When working with a person one-on-one, in a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 3. As I reach number 3, I'm going to snap my fingers and your eyes will close down. Notice I allowed my eyes to hesitate for a moment and then close down after the snap. Now I'm going to go, okay, ready? That's called a rehearsal. I've just shown a person what I want them to do. So if you'd like to explore what it's like to go into your innermost knowing very quickly, follow these easy suggestions. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 3. On the number 3 and not before, allow your eyes to close down and relax them to the point where they just won't work. Notice I haven't made any comment about a finger snap because I'm not including a post-hypnotic yet. All right, take a good deep breath. 1, 2, and now allow the eyes to close down. 3. Relax them to the point where they just won't work. And then forget all about them. And then open your eyes and notice how that feels. If you've done your homework, you have started already with Chapter 119, Independent Study, where there's a whole list of subjective feelings, experiences that you may notice once you start going inside your sensory awareness of yourself. Okay, this time I'm going to count from 1 to 3. As I count from 1 to 3 on the number 3, I'm going to snap my fingers. Your eyes will close down. You'll go deeper. 1, 2, 3. Eyes closed down. You might notice a wonderful feeling of well-being. And then I'm going to count from 1 to 3 again, and I want you to allow the eyes to open on the number 3, noticing how good you feel. 1, 2, 3. Now notice how good you feel. There are several layers of direct suggestion. You're going to feel good, is what I'm suggesting. I want you to notice how you feel good. I'm asking you to do things with your eyes because I'm asking you to do it. And if I'm sitting with you live, when I'm sitting with you live, I notice, do you respond to my suggestions? And now I'm going to snap my fingers and go into that relaxation, but deeper. Most people will automatically give you a hypnotic sigh because it feels good. The body goes deeper into relaxation. I'm going to count from 1 to 3 again. You're going to allow your eyes to open. Want that to happen. 1, 2, 3, eyes open. Notice how good you feel. These are direct suggestions. We give people direct suggestions all the time. And when we learn how to pay attention to the direct suggestions we're giving and receiving, we can be more effective in community and with our own minds. I'm shifting through chapter 107. The 4 questions at the end. Every chapter has questions at the end of it. They build up to the final exam at the end. I'm hoping that with all these years of polishing this documentation, everything I want you to learn is in the questions at the end. I've already told you about what Gilboyne's recommendations are. A keyword or a post-hypnotic trigger. That's a word or a phrase that reminds you of all the other suggestions. How do you use those triggers? You can use them by using a little sticky 3x5 card. You can use it with a word that you say to yourself, or with a way, I'm going to pull my finger, or I'm going to tug on my ear, and every time I tug my ear, I'm going to remember all those things. So a trigger doesn't have to be a word. It's just easy to perceive it when we're taking the time to write it down. There's many other ways we can use what we see, what we hear, what we feel, what we smell, what we taste. These are all areas that we can elicit triggers from. And as a hypnotist, what can I make you do? Nothing. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. I can't make you do anything. You've got to want to do it for yourself. And so this basic hypnosis course is here to teach you how to learn how to use your mind more effectively. Another great book, it's recommended for this course, Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain. Marvelous. It's okay. I will give away my age. I am not young and I don't know the modern authors. This one was put out originally in this book, 1978, and it looks like it was re-released in 2002. Shakti Gawain, Creative Visualization. Use the power of your imagination to create what you want in your life. From pages 31 through 34, she has her recommendations for doing proper affirmations, affirmations that get you what you want. On page 31, 1, always phrase affirmations in the present tense and not in the future. She agrees with Bill Boyne. Always phrase affirmations in the most positive way you can. She's agreeing with him. Don't say what you don't want, say what you do want. On page 32, in general, the shorter and simpler the affirmation, the more effective. Now, this is what I was taught when I started my hypnosis training all those many years ago. Recently, in the past 5 years, I had the pleasure of purchasing a hypnosis session with another hypnotist who did a very long, deep assessment of value and gave me a creative visualization recording that, it covered everything. Really good. So I agree that having a shorter, simpler affirmation, particularly for this course, is the ideal way to start. The human mind is not limited to just one thing at a time. It is easier to perceive benefit if we're focusing on one thing at a time instead of jumping around from idea to idea. Also on page 32, always choose affirmations that feel totally right for you. This is when I ask you to pay attention to how it feels inside, with your chest, with your belly. Does it feel good by me? If it doesn't feel right, don't use it, discard it. Always remember you are creating something new and fresh. You want to move towards something. What's the goal that I want? Where am I going? On page 33, affirmations are not meant to contradict or change your feelings or emotions. I agree with this. If we want to explore feelings and emotions, let's do the uncovering of Hypnosis 200 and Hypnosis 100 with direct suggestions. We're looking at, what do you want? Are you aligned? Are you able to get it? Is your conscious mind, is your unconscious and gut mind, are your heart, are you all aligned? Because when you're all aligned, there won't be a contradiction and there won't be resistance to achieving your goals. If there's a gap between what you say you want and what you're actually getting, that gap in there is an area in which direct suggestions can help, but more likely, we'll have to do some uncovering to find out, how are you holding yourself back? What part inside is so powerful that is preventing you from achieving your goals? And try as much as possible to create a feeling of belief and experience that your affirmations can be true. So when we're doing the affirmations portion of this training, you come up with your ideas, we polish them, you check to see if they're feeling good, we make a recording, and then you listen to it. How often do we use affirmation recordings? Theoretically, it takes, with cigarettes, I think 24 hours starts allowing the body to relax. 3 days, it takes 72 hours before the cardiovascular system is relaxing. 10 days, the habit is broken. 28 days, a new habit's in. It's very similar with other forms of habits, thoughts, ideas, feelings, behaviors. If you want to change yourself, when you want to change yourself, make yourself affirmations or recordings and use them daily for 28 days. It's a 28-day challenge to yourself. How much do I want? How much do I want this? Again, focusing your mind upon that which you desire. There's a book by Elizabeth Clare Prophet called The Violet Flame. She had a 3 or 4 month challenge in it. Do these prayers for 3 or 4 months and see what happens. I got a bunch of friends to say, yeah, we'll do that. It's a lovely little book, fits in a blue jean pocket. I recorded it and I plugged it into my car. So I had prayers going to and from work. It was wonderful. I was the only person in 3 months who was still listening to those recordings. And I was getting beautiful sparkles of violet and feeling uplifted in almost everything that I did. So when you want to make a change, be persistent. Don't do it just once and say, whoa, it didn't work. Now, can it happen where a person changes in just one session? Yeah. Be transformed in the twinkling of an eye. 30% of the people get what they need in one session. They got a little twitch, a little itch. We scratch the itch, they get what they want. 30% of the people, this is anecdotal, I don't have empirical evidence to these numbers. 30% of the people receive their benefits in 2 to 6 sessions. They have minor payoffs. They got some more than one thing they're working on. 30% of the people can really go on and off for years. And then 10% of the people, you might be in that group. I can't help right now because you don't want it. You can't make people want what they don't want. In page 47 and 48 of Shakti Gawain, I recommend her. She's great. Being, doing, and having. Being is experience of being alive, doing is movement and activity, and having is a state of being in relationship with other people and things in the universe. She says the purpose of creative visualization, this is page 48, is to connect us with our being, to help us focus and facilitate our doing, to deepen, expand, and align our having. She also says there are 3 necessary elements. This is pages 49 and 50 in Shakti Gawain's creative visualization. Desire, you gotta want it. Belief, do I believe it's possible that this goal can exist? And acceptance, can I receive it when it comes to me? These are the issues and the knowledge that's necessary for using proper suggestion in hypnosis. We will continue with these recordings 1 chapter at a time. And I hope you enjoy this journey into the treasures and amazement that is remarkable view through self-hypnosis. Thank you. See you again.